ribs. I had ribs for lunch. That's why I'm doing this. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Hey, it's Mike with Aegis Defense Solutions. Welcome back to the Modern Sportsman in Burnsville, Minnesota. And tonight, we are going to cover something that's been requested on the channel thus far after we did our Canik review on the Canik TP9 Combat Elite. We are going to take a look at the Canik Mete SF tonight. Now, Canik has been really killing it with some of their products lately. And in particular, I've been being really impressed with their lineup as they've kind of left the budget zone and diving more and more into that 500 plus MSRP range, but really packing in some really cool features into these Turkish imports. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that you're getting with this. Now, when we looked at the Canik TP9 Combat Elite, there's a couple things we liked, a couple things we didn't. You have the flared magwell on that grip. I didn't care for that. I felt it bunched my hands up a whole bunch. You do have the extended mag release, which if you have larger grips that James showed when he was firing it, that it would tendency that when he gripped that firearm, he would drop his mag out of it very easily. But you do have one fantastic trigger in this. And with the Combat Elite, we do have that flat trigger, which has a very short reset and a very short pull. In fact, let's go ahead and ghost that real quick. Very short reset, about 2 millimeters, and that's the that's the reset on it. Very crisp, nice flat trigger. Now, how does that compare to the Mete SF? Well, one thing that the Mete SF has changed up is that frame on its actual shape and grip. It's a slightly ergonomic. We've ditched the flared magwell, which is now not bunching up your hand, so you kind of have more of that Glock 19 just size with that grip. Now, you can tell that the mag release on the TP9 Elite does stick out quite a bit further. Like I stated, a couple of our guys had trouble with that with their bigger grips where they would actually drop that magazine out. But with the Mete SF, you don't have that problem. It's still large, it's still easy to find, easy to depress, but it doesn't stick out quite as far. I personally think that's an upgrade myself. Now, the things that you might say is an upgrade, more of a side grade, we are losing the flat trigger for a curved trigger, but you're still getting that very, very crisp trigger flow. In fact, I would even say the take-up is easier on the Mete. Probably just about the same crispness. That was the reset, very short reset. So slightly lighter on the take-up. Another, again, 2 millimeters. It's still sporting that Canik trigger, which is absolutely stellar and fantastic. So the next big thing with the TP9 series and the Mete are the barrels inside this thing. The TP9 Elite has a salient barrel, which is a pretty accurate barrel, really, really good product from Salient Arms, and they don't have that in the Mete SF. And another thing that they changed up with the slides on these is actually the optic cutout, the MOS on these. If you take a look at that MOS, on the TP9 Combat Elite, you have, when you remove the actual plate, you have to remove the back iron sight as well. And when you remove that rear sight, yes, you're not going to be able to co-witness. That is out the window with that. With the Mete SF, we do have a change in the frame on that. So if co-witness is something you're concerned about, you're going to have a better time with that, putting on backup sights onto the Mete SF. The downside, though, like I said, it's just more trade-offs than anything that when you're looking at this series. The one downside that you're getting with that is that you have a more forgiving and a deeper cutout with the TP9 Combat Elite. As you can see, it's quite a bit deeper, goes quite more into the slide than the Mete. The Mete is a little shallower, so you are a little more limited to what kind of optics that you want to put on that. So again, more of a side grade, more of a 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It's going to be up to the shooter what you're looking at for those features. What's going to be more important? You want that wider range? You got a specific optic that you want to put on it? You're going to want to go the Combat. You're going to want to go the Combat Elite. You're less worried about that. You want to co-witness those iron sights. You're going to want to go the Mete SF. So the first we're going to go over tonight is we are going to look at the Mete, the Mete SF, and that'll be the first thing we compare. And we're going to compare that to its other flagship line, the TP9 Combat Elite, and see how these kind of two Canik winners are really stacking up. These ones are starting to grow on me quite a bit. They have quite a few features and just little idiosyncrasies that I really, really dig. So let's put it through a few paces and see how it goes. That little guy?
Oh, that little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
A good grouping overall, still A zone, and which is good. I've been getting to the range and getting a little more practice in because I've been letting my own pistol skills slide a little. But let me just say, just off the bat, How did that feel? First magazine. You know, we only put about, what did we do? 10 rounds on that. The trigger's nice. The trigger is pretty stellar on that. I would say it's very comparable to the TP9 Combat Elite. But really what we're going to see is when we go to shoot that and compare it, how those two really compare against each other. I don't think they're going to be much different on it. How do you think it's gonna go?
Honestly, kind of excited for this one. I like how it feels in my hand, especially the trigger. I felt the trigger, the reset on it earlier today, and it felt fantastic.
It's pretty impressive. I mean, like for budget guns, which that's how they started, was like $300 range of those guns. Their triggers are pretty damn stellar.
It might also be because this one is a rental. So granted, that is a contributing factor. But like this one feels crisp. It feels nice. It doesn't feel like super stiff. Like everything on it just feels. I don't know how to say it. It's just right. Like it doesn't.
That may be the one for you.
I mean, it might be. But we'll see how this goes. I'm only doing 4 rounds. I'm not counting on my grouping, but we're just gonna throw some rounds down range. Actually like that a lot.
What'd you think?
Trigger feels fantastic.
I'm telling you, man, it's pretty impressive.
This is actually, I think, one of the nicest triggers I think I've
Turks
had.
are doing it right.
They are, for sure. The reset's nice, really, really short trigger pull. Doesn't feel stiff, doesn't feel too loose. Just right. It's right in that sweet spot. I don't know how to explain it.
Oh, the METSF. Yeah. I was close enough. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I like the trigger. Let's just try it out. Yeah, no, the trigger feels great. My groupings were fantastic.
Yep, they were.
I'm happy with it. That wasn't me, was it?
No, that one wasn't.
Okay.
No, pretty accurate. I think it's going to be one of those guns that's more accurate than the user. Well, I was pretty impressed with the METE, the Mete SF. Really, really good trigger. It really is fantastic. And I will say this, gripping this already, I kind of mentioned this already with our TP9 review straight up, that I don't like the grip as much. I feel like that flared magwell kind of cramps my finger in there into that grip. It feels a little tighter, a little more uncomfortable. And I didn't have any problems with it, but I know you did, had problems with that mag release. So we're going to kind of see how this compares now. Direct comparison with that METE SF, their new flagship line. So let's do some rounds and find out.
If this was just a little bit longer, like if this was just ever so slightly longer, it wouldn't pinch my finger. I feel like my pinky's kind of pinched, folded in, rolled in a little bit. I don't like that. But again, trigger, fantastic. I really like the trigger. Also, I'm kind of digging the threaded barrel.
Well, yeah, it's going to prompt you to put a can on it, absolutely.
But like, I'm kind of digging that look. Other than that,
I'm going to say this about the METE, the Mete, the stipling is better on the newer version. I think this raised stipling, not a big fan of it. It doesn't feel like a whole lot of purchase, but what they did was they took the regular stipling that's on the side, and they actually threw that onto the front of it for their new the new metal line. So I think the frame is an upgrade overall, and then I honestly, and we'll fire this. I think the slide itself is more of a side grade. It's just kind of like, what features do you actually want? Do you want the co-witness? Do you want the deeper optic cutout? What are you looking to put on top of that thing? As far as optic variety.
yeah, I'm thinking the same, honestly.
Well, let's talk more shoot.
So far, not so bad though.
Let's talky, more shooty.
The trigger feels fantastic. Only qualm I have with this is
That flared magwell is a pain in the butt. I don't like it.
Magwell. And I don't even mind the presence of a flared magwell.
Flared magwell.
Flared
magwell.
Listen, it's late. We're all tired. We've all been busy doing stuff.
At first, I thought I did. Like this one feels a little crisper, but like the take up is a little less on the Meta. But I think you're getting similar cadence on it. You can really rapid fire on this thing, and dump that mag. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I can't. In the end, I can't tell really too much difference between them. They're both fantastic triggers. No matter what you're doing, you're getting a good trigger right out of the box on that. The barrel's pretty nice too. The Salient barrel, and that's like their big thing is that collab between Salient Arms and them. Is you're getting a pretty slick barrel. That's going to be more accurate than the shooter. I mean, you can see that. There's Salient Arms International. Their little engraving.
I love this though.
It does, yeah. You get the aesthetic.
I love that.
You get the aesthetic,
That's
but
fantastic.
I don't care for threaded barrels unless I'm putting a can on it because those threaded barrels have a tendency to walk off as you're shooting them.
I don't like the grip.
You're gonna dump that mag again.
I'm gonna dump it. I got a full mag, and I'm gonna just...
Yeah. So he gets his aggressive grip in there, good grip, high and tight, and then he squeezes it, and it just shits it out on him.
Takes a fat dookie.
Yeah, that's what you were competing with last time. You know, in conclusion on comparing these two firearms, really what I liked about them and what Canik is doing is they're making pretty ergonomic packages with quite a few of high-level features in a relatively affordable package. You could go all out and definitely spend the money on something like a Gucci Glock, say from Shadow Systems or from ZevTech, or, you know, you could even dive into the Walther series with the PDPs. Or the PPQ line, but with Canik in their new launch with the Mete SF and the TP9 Combat Elite, really you can't go wrong with either one, and it's going to boil down to what little features that you want that's going to be different from the other. If having that Salient Arms International barrel is more important and having that more forgiving optics come out for the MOS, that's going to be the one you're going to want to go with, that TP9 Combat Elite. I didn't like the frame on the TP9 Combat Elite just because of that flared external magwell. It was really a pain in the butt to kind of navigate with your grip when you're trying to present. All right, so wrap up. In conclusion, what are you guys thinking on these? Let's talk about the Mete first, their new flagship. What are your thoughts?
I like this one a lot better, solely because I just don't like the magwell on the TP9. That is literally it. The triggers, though, feel the exact same.
I felt no difference on them, honestly.
No, I didn't. Even though it's a
They both felt
round
great.
trigger.
Yeah, they both felt great. To be totally honest,
Versus
they
the
both
flat,
felt
yeah.
fantastic.
It was more like a side grade, right? It's like, do you want a flat trigger? Do you want a curved trigger? They're going to pull about the same.
Yeah, I'd say about the same.
But I mean, I agree with James though. The flared magwell on the TP9 is terabad. I'm not a big fan of that. It's my grip. I got these elegant long dancer's fingers.
If it was just a little bit longer, like if the grip was just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think like if they could take the slide, the barrel, because I like that Salient Arms barrel. That's pretty slick. If they took that frame or the slide off of the TP9 Combat Elite, you put it on the Mete frame. Like I think that would be the prime Canik handgun. I mean the stipling is better. The frame overall is better. Stipling's better. The flared magwell, that they ditched that external flare. I believe it actually that they feature it that it says it's an internal flared magwell.
Is it
reloads are fine.
Is the flared magwell non-removable?
This it probably is. I mean it's. You can totally remove it.
If you can remove it,
so there's a start key on that, so you can take that. You can definitely take that off.
Well, in that case, that would be my pick, just because it's everything that this has, except it's just a little bit.
No,
more
not
fancy.
the stipling. It's missing the stipling though. I like the stipling on that.
Like the stipling?
But look, I'll hold it up. Yeah, you're getting that. You're getting. Oh,
Did I just
move your
flag
fingers?
you? I feel like I just flagged you.
No, don't do it again. Ow, my feelings. You're getting the normal stipling off the side on the front. I think it gets you a little bit better purchase. That's what it felt like to me. The little nubs that are on the TP9, I think are just worse. It feels just a little slick in my hand. So, any closing remarks?
They're both great handguns.
They're good. You can't go wrong.
The triggers were fantastic.
It has our endorsement, our recommendation. If you're looking for a decent price handgun, but these are a little more expensive than the baseline Caniks that when they first came out, you're breaking $400 and above. And I think what do we see at the TP9, depending on the options, because you can get them with an optic and stuff, you're breaking $800 to $1,000. Yeah, depending on if you get it with an optic or not. So they're good though. They can't go wrong. They're really good imports. I would endorse them. They're really really good handguns for the price. So with that, this is Mike and Jaden and James with Aegis Defense Solutions. Thanks for sticking around tonight. Also remember that, you know, these handguns aren't as worth as much as the person behind them. To always go seek training, go get yourself more educated, make yourself a better informed shooter. That's all you can really ask for. And that's going to make you more effective at defense for yourself and your family in the end. So with that, God bless and good night. Stay prepared, not scared.
Nice.
And
It's a wrap.